Hello and welcome back to another chapter of using Blender. My name is Sserunkuma Damian, and I'm going to be still taking you through how to use Blender. This time around we want to look at the basics of animations. Okay, let's dig in. Let's click in the 3D world, or you simply click at General. Like it is normally, we have this the camera, and then we have the 3D object, and then we have the light source. So there are normally different things that you can animate. We are going to basically start small, and then we get to know what we mean by animations and how it is created. I'm clicking at the view, and then I select view points, then select front. Okay, so when you select front, you should be viewing your object from the front view. Select it and then click at the move tool, then drag it up. Okay, so creating an animation is as easy as having or moving an object. You can either move an object, scale it, or rotate it through the timeline. Okay, so whenever you're animating, you are recording events through the time. What happens through the time? So in so doing, you will be creating an animation. We are going to move this, we're going to create a basic animation using this cube. So we want to be able to locate this cube at its initial location. Let me move it slightly on the left side so that it flashes with the z-axis. So you are going to locate or to record the initial point. We have the time frame at the bottom, and all we need to do is to record. I can move it up, just drag it by the edge. So I'm going to create, we're going to create a simple animation. I'm going to zoom in a little. Okay, at that point. So at frame, these are frames, frame 1, frame 10. However, you can as well zoom in. We're going to create our animation, and it's going to be an animation to cover only 50 frames. So our animation is going to start from frame 1 until frame 50. So I'm deleting off the 2 so that I can be able to remain with 50 and press enter, or you just ensure that you enter 50 there so that my animation stops at 50. Okay, so the rest you can as well just zoom in. I'm dragging this corner so that it zooms in my time frame. Okay, so what we need to do is to locate its initial point. So our initial point, we want our initial point to be at this point. Okay, so all we need to do is to record this, the location and the time. The time is at frame 1. So at frame 1, our object is going to be at that point. It's going to be in that shape, at that kind of scale. And then we are going to press the easy way. We're going to press the letter I. Make sure that your cursor is in the 3D world. Press letter I, and then we are interested in locating or locking 3 aspects. We want to locate the location, we want to record the scale value, and then we want also to record the rotation value. What we shall possibly select are the 3 options there: location, rotation, and scale. So I'm clicking at this option, and realize that as long as you have clicked there, it's going to record, it's going to put a keyframe at that point. So that keyframe has recorded the initial point where my cube is. And now next point, I want to move to frame 2. So I click at frame 2, or you can enter 2 there and press enter. Then I want this cube to be able to kind of scale in. So I will press letter S, or press letter S to be able to scale in all the 3 values, the Z value, the X value, and the Y's value. So I press letter S and then move my mouse inwards to the left side. Then click, left mouse click. Okay, so I'm pressing numpad 1 to get back to the front view. Then I want it to be in the same position. Okay, and then I want this point, I have scaled it in. Initially it was covering up to this area, but I've scaled it in, and then I want to record the current values at frame 2. So point at the 3D world and then press letter I. Then select the same option of location, rotation, and scale. So it puts another value, another keyframe. So when you move your mouse from number 1 to number 2, you realize that it kind of animates. So I want to be able to move from number 2 up to number 5. I want this to have exploded out. So it's going to kind of jump upwards. Okay, so I want it to have jumped from this point to that point, and then I want it to scale out. So I'm pressing S and then moving my mouse out. Okay, up to that point. Then I press I to lock the 3 values: location, rotation, and scale. Okay, so you realize that when I play it, it will be playing like that. So it kind of, initially it is at this original point, but on going to frame 2, it squeezes in because it wants to shoot up. So I'll select it and then shoot it up, but as it shoots up, it's going to grow bigger. Okay, then up to that point, once it reaches that point, it is now going to start dropping down to frame to the 8th frame. I'm moving it to the 8th frame, and then I'm bringing it back down. So back down, but by the time it hits the ground, I want it to have that point, that the same scale. So I'll select I and then select the same values. Then at frame 9, this is going to squeeze in because it is touching the ground. It is kind of pushing in. So it's going to squeeze in up to, so I'm selecting the scale, and now I'm going to squeeze in the Z axis like that, and then still move it down because it is going to be squeezed against the ground. Okay, so it's going to squeeze in like that, and then like a pressure is going to have that kind of gravity. And then I press I, then scale the 3 values. Then at this point, I'm going to shoot it up again. Okay, so scale, moving to point of 14. Okay, so at point 14, I'm going to shoot it up again. to that point, and this time I'm going to scale it in the z-axis, okay, up to 0.1, okay, in the z-axis. Okay, so the z-axis, I want it to be having the same values. Okay, when you look at the right side, we want the same values. You can as well bring it or press letter N to bring back your side window. So I'm interested in the scale. The scale value has to match these values. So I'm scaling it to value of 0.95958, okay, to come back to its normal when it is not squeezed in. So I press I again and lock. Okay, so you realize that we have, when I play my animation, it will be like this. Okay, so I want, since I've already recorded some value at that point, so it's going to kind of keep on, I want to kind of create an animation of a bouncing box. So all I need is, once it gets up, it is coming back, hits the ground, squeezes in, and goes up again. So I want that motion when it is back on the ground. So this next two, these two, I'm going to box select it using the left mouse button. Then I'm going to duplicate them, these two. Okay, so I'm going to be working with these two. I'm pressing Shift D. Shift D, make sure that your cursor is in the time frame, in the timeline. So Shift D to duplicate, and then move your cursor so that you duplicate the two values, and placing them I place them in frame 20, and then the last one, Shift D to duplicate, and then placing it to frame 28. So this is what I have so far. I've just duplicated it because it's going in the same motion. Okay, so I have something kind of like that. Okay, so these two, I can just duplicate, keep on duplicating these two, these the four values, four sections, Shift D, and then move them in other positions. Okay, so we have 34 there, and then since it goes beyond, my animation will stop. Let me span it to stop at 54. Okay, so it's going to stop at 54. Enter there. So I'll take it to the beginning. Okay, and then play. So that way you will have created a simple animation that has an event that happens over time. Okay, so even if I'm to move it, to move around my scene, you will have a bouncing box. Okay, that is the first animation that you can possibly try out and have it done. Let's save our work. Save our animation. So I'm pressing pause or press the space bar, then click File, select File, Save As, locate where you want to save your files. You want to save it on this drive. Okay, so we select the drive, and then I want to set in Blender files, and then out there I want to say bouncing box. Okay, normally it saves like .blend, and then click on save. So our file is saved properly. Please consider subscription to this channel and click the notification button, then leave a comment and like. You can as well share this video for others who might be interested in what I've just done. Thank you.